meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I say we approve the minutes.
I would second, with no corrections, is that correct?
Correct.
I would second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Minutes approved. July 23rd meeting. Okay. County Councilor has presented us the letter to Leroy Kane about the agreement possible for highway takeover of Kansas Highway 74. You sent that today?
Yeah, today or yesterday. I sent him an almost identical email
Okay.
a month ago, and then I talked to him on the phone. He suggested sending him a formal letter about it, so.
Okay.
That shouldn't be really new info for you to work with.
Right. No, just want to make sure that public record here is keeping, that we have made that request. And I see that you give the okay, Mr. Ballmer, for obtaining both of the records. So, okay. Ian business. Is that all that stuff for you to sign, or is there anything there you have to sign?
I think it's for me. What is that radio going off?
Oh, there's a guy out here.
That's the control thing for the radio.
There is.
Is there somebody in there?
There was this morning.
No,
Spying on us?
no, there was a guy in here leaving our work session. He came in from Midwest Mobile. He was in there working,
Oh.
but he's gone now.
New business maybe that Paul Lane got a hold of Jerry, and Jerry was gonna get some information on the workforce building and get back with us, but Paul Lane thought it was gonna be 4 to 6 months before they really did anything with it.
The maintenance guy with the state said that, they send their appraisers in to appraise it. He said it'd probably be several months. But Jerry said he was, talked to some of his,
Good.
that he's acquainted with the Department of Administration.
Is that who's got it now? Because that's the youth center got moved into administration.
I'd say it will be too, I don't know, just guessing. At some point in time, we probably need to touch base with Colby, or have somebody go down there and look for storage, and see if it would work and get a price. I would think.
Yep.
Okay,
Well, didn't I hear it was $2.75 a square foot?
$1.50 to $2, I think Jeff said, and he told us that they did tours, $2. But Jeff come back and he talked to him, or he talked to his right-hand man because he lives across the alley or something from Jeff, and Jeff mentioned $1.50 to $2. And there's, you could access Monday through Friday, business hours, and then I think Saturday to noon, don't quote me on that, then if you had a special occasion, and you want to get in after hours, there would be a fee.
I talked with District Court, and they pay $2.76 per cubic foot. And so I think that might be per drawer. And it didn't sound like they had that many. I can't remember who was it 42 drawers, maybe? And I also don't know, archivally speaking, if this is suitable. I mean, I don't know if it is a climate control. I know the temperature is, but is the humidity control and all that?
I think it was.
And so, if if it's good, it sounds like this would be cheaper even, and, besides district court and, the clerk's office, are there other departments that have items in storage that you're paying for?
Register deeds.
Yeah, just say registered deeds are. just
But I think all I need right now is, with Hutchison and some microfilm.
Is what district court has?
That's what I have. Now, district court, I think, has the actual records.
Wow, that seems like overkill to, image everything and then have the images stored offsite and have the, retain the files and keep those offsite as well. Don't get me wrong, I think there's value in keeping old documents, but, it just seems odd that you do both.
Yeah. And in particular, if they're both stored at the same place also.
Yeah.
You'd think you
Yeah.
have them in a different place, in case something happened, when you'd have access to the other.
I mean, do we have any listing of how much stuff we have? I mean, how much space does the register of deeds have and need?
For how many dollars spent?
See, I have mine, because it comes directly to them, so Donna would know. I was just looking. Underground storage.
So we probably ought to get that per department, find out what they have and where and what it is.
Looks like they do a lot of, freight charges and retrieval to the Hutchison salt mine.
I remember during the Carter administration, we went to some Civil War battleground, and they raised, the air conditioners had to be turned off, or, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling us that it was causing damage to the records because they were too humid. So I know that there's a concern with humidity in there.
Well, I'd say when I went in the cave, it was hot, it was a real dry. You know, it wasn't humid at all, real dry, so, and he emphasized several times, climate control.
The court lease rental, we just paid it in August. Oh, no, we haven't paid it yet, so we paid the $1,406. I don't
For
know
the
what-
court,
For the court. Mine was $84. I probably just have one drawer with microfilm, and the rest are deeds is $210.
17.
That's a month,
That's a year.
a year, okay.
So it went up from last year, because they paid $1,112. Mine was $80 last year.
and then they're also incurring fees sometimes during the year to go get stuff. Is that what you said?
She said there was pretty good for retrieval and
They have like retrieval, freight charges.
and somebody said it was like $25 for them to go retrieve something if you wanted it.
Well, this says retrieval, and it was the $4.85, refilling, and, you know, $4.85 looks like retrieval something transaction.
The only downside I'd say is you've been having it down there for quite a while, so chances are that's gonna be there. Well, this guy's brand new, he may be here today and gone tomorrow, you never know, but convenience wise, I don't think it could be.
You know, easy does close up. You just don't know where else you'd go, so. we probably ought to be, I think maybe I seen Jeff sent you an email, but the interlocal agreements about sales tax contribution, we probably ought to be getting that going so we could be presenting that to the various cities. And I think the question is how we word it. I mean, do we want to say a minimum of 41%? I mean, don't cut it off at 40, I mean, just a minimum, because I think we get more we can. And do we want to do it, I mean, I think the suggestion is 3 years.
Okay.
And should it be worded so that that's the amount that's contributed to, so it corresponds with 2014, 2015, 2016 budgets, I mean, so if the contract said this contract's good for 3 years, I mean, don't stop it right in the middle of the year. In other words, it's, if that contract retained, that doesn't mean it's gonna say.
Fiscal year? Like
Yeah,
our budget.
Fiscal year is the calendar year. But are you wanting to give them opportunity to get out, like giving us 7 months notice or something?
No, I just thought that if, that once they make that, you know, if the agreement said this agreement's for 3 years, well, if we signed it today, we
Oh, I
can
see.
get out of it.
I see.
I'm just saying that this agreement, or that
We
the
don't-
agreement for this contribution is the amount that we plan on putting in, contributing to joint communications and solid waste for 2014 budget, 2015 budget, 2016 budget. That means that there's not really a, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the 41% would, well, I think you're saying we don't want them, we want it to be the 3 fiscal years.
Right.
So we don't want them to be able to get out in July or August.
Right. Just because the contract said this contract's for 3 years, we're talking about the contract is for, as pertains to the 3 budget years.
Right.
That the money's going to, so.
Well, and then is that 41%, is that calculated based on 2012 revenue? Or is that their 2013 projection? Because if it's based on a projection, they can just make, you know, anybody can just make up a number and say, well, this is our projection, we're gonna get $20 from it.
I think the city will, because they do their projections, their sales tax projections, will all work off of their assumption, and they will turn it over to all the parties involved by like April.
Well, if you want to see that control. And we're really kind of getting into attorney-client
Yeah.
discussion,
Yeah.
so you may want to have an attorney-client executive session. I've got a couple other attorney-client matters, but a couple other things that we talked about as well.
15 minutes? 20.
Yeah, it's never long enough, whatever you
Okay, well, do you have something for us, Chase?
Like,
We should wait for him, or?
well, I called Chris, we have a meeting on Monday, or Friday. It was an idea that's thrown around, he's gonna start working on it, the RFP, 2-3 weeks. They'll probably have it ready to be discussed at the August 19th meeting, but he's gonna meet with, or he and I are gonna meet, so, because he's right in the cities, and, you know, I'm working on the privatization, so we wanna make sure that everything coordinates. If we do go, if the city goes through with it, and we go through with it, that it all lines up evenly, so that
So they are pursuing it.
they have requested a draft, just to see what they can draw up. So nothing, there's no details hammered out yet, which is a bit of a relief, because, you know, at least we'll have some heads up as to what.
Well, yeah, it gives us a planning, but I mean, I think our key to decision comes is this, you know, do we go ahead and continue to pursue the scales and we postpone? If we decide not to take action on the 6th, accept the bid, do we then, make that contract retro or push back the deadline for completion will correspond with, if we wait 2 weeks before we make a decision, that gives it 2 more weeks for completion.
Right, and that still gives us a relatively decent amount of time to get it completed in good weather. before we actually need to use it.
But we still wanna have at least 60 days lead time to play with it, so.
That should work, but we're gonna get together on Friday and
Okay.
have that.
Did you touch base with any of the solid waste committee, or y'all wait till after Friday?
I better wait till after Friday and see.
There's no details to discuss, so it's just pie in the sky discussion. And that's one thing I really, really would like to avoid. So, if it gets brought up, that'll be a city issue if they want to answer. But we'll try and make those coordinate, and we'll have some good communication between the city and the county.
When will the next solid waste committee meeting?
This Thursday, but other than,
Okay. Is it gonna correspond? This Thursday, the first,
yes,
that's gonna correspond with your budget workshop.
I have no problem either postponing it a week or,
Is this available yet? You can probably move in there for your budget workshop.
Yeah, we had one in there last year, so.
Or the downstairs sheriff's,
So you got a meeting up here on the first?
solid waste.
Oh, your solid waste is gonna be on the first, okay.
Mhm.
I thought Jeff said they were gonna have one.
Again, that would be news for me.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's fine if we don't. We don't have much to discuss anyway.
What if we stay, we're gonna talk real quiet and listen to the part?
What time is your meeting scheduled, 9?
It's usually 9 o'clock.
It's supposed to be the 8:30.
I could probably just send out saying we'll cancel it or reschedule it for
Oh, I
next week.
think we could go ahead and meet someplace else. Go ahead, continue. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff won't be able to be there, or
He will be
outside.
there, yeah.
You just got it in here.
Okay.
We'll make it loud.
Huh?
Make it loud, of course. This meeting make it loud, or we make it loud, because we're getting down to the budget.
Well, then, you want me to bring a radio up and we'll just use it?
There you go, yeah.
Well, like I said, we won't have much to discuss, so.
Yeah. Possibly.
We'll see.
Do you want him to stay for the first 5 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Executive session.
I move we enter executive session for attorney-client reasons. You want 20 minutes total?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
20 minutes, we will connect here at 1:25 and come out of executive session at 1:45.
A second that motion.
Moved and seconded, we will include with the two commissioners, county councilor, and Chase Briggs. So that's, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Very
It's
chill.
a little cool. Thermostat's right there. I have no idea. Right there.
Well, there's two thermostats, isn't there? There used to be.
Motion to change the
There's
thermostat.
one over there and there's one here. Somebody's turned it clear down to, no, it's up to 8.
Well, don't turn it on, look, it's about 68 degrees in
Is
here.
that Celsius, or is that Fahrenheit, or what?
Has it ever worked? I mean, I don't think they've ever really.
They're supposed to. Yeah, they're both at 8.
Well, I sure my heat, so.
I guarantee you it is about 80 in here.
Well, I would say you're right.
I think if you open the windows, it'd probably be cooler. I mean, it would probably warm it up.
Once we walked out, Bill and I walked, when we left work session, we can almost, you could tell when you walked out down the stairs, it was warm, so. Anyway, it keeps us awake, so.
Also, Matt,
Oh.
Scott was asking about the tax credits. Did he get it? He did get it to me, I didn't sell them, but I forgot them. I was actually looking at that this weekend.
Yeah, he just asked me if I could ask for it.
Yeah.
You ready for the money?
He is.
Tom, and I was supposed to ask, that 25,000 that you put in Memorial Hall, that, were you going to keep that? You weren't going to send it to Memorial Hall for them?
We will not, that will not be, if they don't come forward with their share to do their project, that was.
So in other words, you're just gonna keep it?
We're gonna keep it if they don't come forward with their plan. I have a feeling they're gonna try to do part of the plan or something. I don't know. But,
Well, I mean, right now, we don't have all the 25,000 that
right.
Scott Erickson
Yes.
was asking, he thought that he was gonna get the money to keep.
No,
Okay.
that's not my
He's telling
understanding.
us Scott that.
My understanding, that was contingent on, they came up, I think they would come up with, their estimate was like $52,000. And so they had 27,000 or something like that they needed to come up with. And then, they've got 12.
That's for the brick.
For the bricks. So they've got that difference yet to come up with.
I think they were gonna try to come up with more bricks and some donated services.
Yeah, but they had a lot of donated services in the original.
City was gonna do the sidewalks.
City's gonna do sidewalks. When we'd already agreed to do some of the landscaping part.
Or the sidewalks, man, no.
Well, they figured
Maybe
Once we
once
get
they
it-
had equipment
Make it
on
more
it.
like it used to be or something, they said.
Oh, they're gonna do the new sidewalks, not replace the ones that are there.
Well,
The
they
ones in
figured
front they're gonna replace, but I think it's because of running the equipment.
over the sidewalk.
I mean, they're not real bad, some, but there's body patched up, that I think by the time they get everything tore out, it's gonna mess the sidewalks up. And I think the city's paid 100% of that.
Yeah, that was it, that was what they got to us. So my understanding was, I mean, I agree to do that simply with contingent, once they have the project all approved and in place, and we would give them our contribution, and I'm not gonna send it there now. Because if they don't come through with it, like, we'll find some other place to use it this year, and better next year or something, so. If they do it. I got the impression they're gonna try, Don had been sick or something for quite some time. I have a feeling that they maybe were realizing it's kind of urgent that they get to moving, so.
I tell you, those two ladies was gonna step in and
Yeah.
start to get the ball rolling.
But if that's all right with Bill, I mean, I think that's the agree, that's kind of what, yeah,
I was just
that money is available once the project gets executed.
Yeah, no, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks.
You got the irrigation systems on the sprinklers and turning them.
Yeah, they will, yeah.
How much rain, anybody, any rainfall report here in town?
Somebody said 1.something4, I think, here, and then north of here was 3 points.
Mary Myers said she had 3 inches out there.
Okay.
See, we had 4.5.
Wow.
Just 3 miles northwest of us, I think it's 6.
Yeah, 6 inches.
Yes.
Wow. That's a lot of rain.
And then, a guy in Horton had 7.5.
What'd you think?
I had like 2 inches in my gauge, but where my wife wants to keep it, it doesn't get all the rain. And I said, we got more than 2 inches of rain. And Mary said she had right at 3 at hers, and she just lives up the road 4 or 5 miles. So I'm presuming around 3 inches.
You can keep those under a tree.
Tell my wife, it's gotta be right there where she backs the car up. She can see it, but there's flyers and trees.
What's all off the roof?
Oh, I may stay out of that one, but they're good, you know.
He'd be like my nephew, he's got a gauge over on the back road, it's right across from the Bill's Spirit, this Bill's kind of honoring. And he'll pour extra water in it. So, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
So those tax credits, did Memorial Hall get them?
This is, the tax credits for what we do is ours. They have put in,
Bathrooms, that's
yeah,
bathroom.
it's a smaller one.
Okay. All right, I was thinking, I thought, I didn't think we'd be getting the tax credit yet for the, because we haven't even done the windows yet.
I'm sorry, that's another one I had. It all depends on how you wanna figure.
It was $650 this year.
First time we talked about it, should be right there, Jeff here, and we decided.
That, if we minus out the rebate,
I'm not saying.
I think we got to do it on that.
I estimated that I had
Sort of sign up, I'll tell you
$5.5.
more why,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're like 3 times higher than everybody else, so 1.2 mils. Some of them have 2 mils, and none of them have 5.
for what, ambulance?
Yeah.
I guess it was going around on the clerk serve about mental health, what people were getting with mental health. I have the information if you want it, I wrote this down. The counties were asking what they were giving, or what they were putting in their budget for mental health. Different.
I had asked her, the Kansas, the KAC listserv had asked what everybody pays for ambulance. I knew it was $650, but I didn't know how many mills exactly it was. I had thought the mill was $115,000, but it's
No,
A mill is-
122, it's,
$122.
Yeah,
well, it's roughly
150,000.
5 mils. But that's just the contractor part, we got operating costs on top of that. So, the operating
You're
part.
right. You're right.
And actually, see, the 2 ambulances are gonna be hit into debt, so it's really more than that. I mean, the next 3 years, get 3 years in this ambulance is gonna eat us alive.
Well, that rate appears, I'll print it or make a summary and give it to you, but we're significantly higher mill than we was. I think we're behind the curve equipment wise.
I think I know, so, yeah.
And I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't believe, because I think when I look at Jefferson's numbers, they seem to be pretty high.
I don't think the fly car's really saving us money, because I think it's just an additional paramedic that goes to every call.
That's what Jeff had mentioned.
It's not, I mean, where they save money is if you have them go out there to call and bring the ambulance later. And that is, you don't have a full-time staff ambulance in Effingham, and I don't know politically whether you want to go there.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's, at some point, if you take it out that we have it right now, that's kind of the direction we give them under contract. And if we'd ever take the court back, we'd have to look at trying to get some, getting a, just on call, That was, like I said, that was always the beauty that we had back with Daniel, we had EMTs that worked right there in the office, and they could, most of the calls were usually through the day anyway, but it wasn't an easy decision. It really wasn't one of them meetings that I wanted to go to, and they told me. You were there.
That was your first meeting, wasn't it?
Well, it was the first meeting with that committee, and it was like early February, I'd been on for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that meeting was early February, because see, that's when Lori was also, she had not officially resigned, but she resigned a week or so after that. She told me at that meeting that she was gonna be resigning. I mean, it was just one thing after another. Because she actually, see, she's the one that oversees volunteer service, so now you don't have an ambulance director out there, and you didn't have, you wasn't gonna have a volunteer.
The bridge at 266 in Sherman been hit, and somebody went and straightened the railing, and there's a stop sign on as well, same location.
She said she fixed the stop sign.
According to my reading of the map, that's the road in Potato Hill.
Okay.
So probably, if there's stop signs down the river, hit the bridge, probably hit stop sign.
Do you mean leave the stop signs down there? She said the post was still there, so
Yeah, I thought sounded like they just took the
stop sign.
unscrewed it.
That, Randy might know, but he said that there was a rash of them. He said there was a bunch down south that got hit over the weekend. Because, he had ordered some stop signs for him this morning, but all the time, but he don't know about this one.
Oh, is that not our stop sign? Is
Oh,
that-
if it's
is that
off of-
township stop
If
sign?
it's off of our road, it is.
And the bridge, I don't know, you have to take a,
If it's right there at the bridge, it'd be ours.
I'll have to look at it when I go home that way.
Well, you sent me a note on it, no, this morning.
Well, David said he was going down, somebody else show up.
He was there,
Oops,
Kenny was there.
he's not a resident, I don't have to worry about him.
He's probably ain't got a lot.
We took the excavator down there again. The pile in the center is still there. It's sitting on the dirt. We reached over the banister with the excavator, you just barely touch the big log, and it's just sitting there. There's nothing holding it. It's in between the piers, but until the water comes up, it's still just sitting there.
Well, the water is not.
They want us to get one of them long reach.
Well, we will need to clean it out so it meets what the original specs were, and then they do everything, in other words, we have to measure, there's no doubt that trash has made some of that silt in, so our opening isn't as big. And, yeah, we're just gonna have to figure that as part of our operating costs.
Well,
It's gonna be cheaper to replace the bridge.
we cleaned some of the brush out, but there wasn't enough water to float it. It's
Really?
stuck just like it was before. Yeah, it dropped. I bet it dropped a foot to 2 foot from the time I looked at this morning until we got the excavator down there. It's dropping fast.
Well, I think David said it was 7, earlier on, said they dropped 2 foot an hour or two, it was.
Yeah. But anyway, Oops he said he talked to you, but he gave me a number for a guy that's got.
He said he was gonna email to me, he never did, so.
Well, I got it.
Okay, well, we'll just have to.
But I guess we'll just wait.
Yeah, wait till dry out and see, yeah, unless they get to predict another big push can't go down.
Well, they're wanting us to come down here. I guess we get it right on Friday. They'll do it Friday, but I guess we'll just.
I guess if we can survive this, unless they think we're gonna get another big one, I don't think that there's gonna be, when you stop and think, there was, of course, I don't think they got the rain clear up at Nema Home, somebody's pointing at 5 inches, so, I don't think there was enough rain to do it.
What about that big rubber tire crane type thing, Marla, that's got cable to get underneath it, that's big enough?
Crane?
Don't they-
Well,
Don't they have a big rubber tire crane?
you gotta get somebody down there to hook it. It's pretty dangerous around that, because you don't know how deep somebody could fall through. I really don't want to go there. It's pretty dangerous walking around on that dirt, because you know, you go down through there.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to get the big room down there, and we really need to clean out the east side too, just to get it, so if it did give another big push, that water would go on past there a little bit faster. There's no doubt, I tried to explain to them, that I said, that meeting was worthless, I said, I appreciate you setting it up, but I said, unless we had an independent engineer that could have read those reports, you and I, you weren't really even a part of it, and I wasn't either, that we were just down there just to make them sound good, basically. You put five of their engineers around the table, and Matt and I, what are we supposed to say?
Right, well, and then you ask me the question, how good a job did you guys do?
Well, I remember one guy, I got puked, he said, it really was a pretty ingenious idea, how you just.
Yeah, they're bragging it up.
Do you want to touch base with Matt about the thing with Leroy King, you brought up this earlier, is?
Didn't I send
The letter.
him a copy of the letter? I sent to Leroy, but I sent.
No, but I talked to Leroy last week.
Well, I did too, he asked me to send him a letter. I sent him an email earlier, and he asked me to send him a letter, so I just did.
I don't know what you've heard, but he told me that it's been turned over to the KDOT lawyers, and they're working on a agreement, so he said.
So it's in the process. So.
Yeah, he said as soon as he knows something, I would know something.
I assume that they then approved, they turned it over, they pretty much approved your budget for the bridge.
Well, I would assume so, if they're gonna go to the trouble of making a document.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't blame me, it rained, so.
Oh.
Yeah. Mike, that's.
I'll patch you on the back. The only thing now I got is, we found this little water in the basement, but I got cracks in one of the holes in the basement. So I don't know what to do. Either the footings cracked or something, that's not going down the wall.
How far down is it?
Well, the crack goes all the way from the window down, I think, I followed the seam in one of them.
I might have to dig down and reseal it. Probably.
Well, I think you should have, they got one kid. Fix it.
Yeah, I figured that warranty, Butler did that in 1990. Imagine that warranty by now.
Probably.
I really think probably what happened is all the dry weather.
When was it done?
When was it?
89?
90.
I'm trying to remember if I was part of that or not.
Did you work with?
I worked for-
Charlie?
huh?
Work with Charlie?
No, I mean, I worked with Brad.
Okay, Charlie was, Charlie,
Kramer.
Kramer was forward on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I worked there for 3 years, right in about that time frame.
They told me when they dug that basement, they said, man, you'll never have a problem with having as tight and sticky as this soil. Oh my God, crap.
Got that tiger clay out there.
It is tight, yeah, it is. I just figured we had so much dry weather, I mean, I've heard people talking about their houses and stuff settling and stuff, you know.
Take your map out to industrial park. List first choice, second choice, third choice, and proceed, then do away with your house. There is no map of the new area, you have to keep in mind, there's no sewer, there's no water, there's none of that will run.
They turn it to that as an option.
Except right by the railroad tracks. On that new place.
Well, I was under the understanding that we would either get the big lot that was about 11 acres, or buy both of the other lots that were like 5 or 6 apiece. Is that fine?
But there is, on the ground, in the middle.
Oh, it is?
Well, yeah, but like I said, there's no development, yeah, but they have
They're gonna
exercised.
wanna finish up the old, and start the new, it depends on the price.
But it's clear across Mead Road, right?
Correct. That'd be on the east side.
But there's no development, the sewer will go past there, which is, I mean, there's no,
Right.
and there's probably water you will close, I mean, as far as.
Yeah, all that's gotta go by there to go out there.
But up to the north, the railroad tracks, they said that would not be an option.
The sewer and water.
No,
No, in case somebody wanna come in with
A business.
rail, they just want the rail, so they would not sell it.
Actually,
I think
I
that's
don't-
the highway.
I didn't want that back there in the back anyway, because that's kind of the natural flow of all the water, and it's just kind of a drainage area back there.
do you think that big 11 acres down there, I don't think that's what they want to sell. Can you make that work?
The one by the railroad tracks?
No,
I know.
11 acres,
Biggest
that
thing
big
is-
open area, you know, you
biggest
drop
thing
it
is-
off there a little bit, but
It's
it's
just the one just east of the
Be
yard
the
mill?
south, be the southwest lot, southwest. front.
straight south of Ottawa.
Right.
Straight south of our house?
Yes.
That hole?
Right.
That used to be the sewer pond down there.
See, that's what I think they're talking, I think, want to go.
That was, I think they always wanted to sell that one, but that don't mean we have to buy it. They offered us anything on that map.
There again, you're down in the drainage area. I think the prime location I've seen so far is just east.
Those 2 5-acres.
Yeah, those 2 5-acre lots just east of Golden Star.
Because with the north lot, you got access to that other road. You go out that way.
Well, yeah, you got access, you can put two entrances, whatever you wanna do. Whereas if you go behind there, you're kinda landlocked, you only got one access. But,
Yeah, I first thought up there, it's open, and then the more you think about it, I wasn't as crazy about it, but I'd say put them other two, and, you know, see what they'll say on those two for option, and then we'll know where we need to go from there.
Yeah, I'd like to get that done this year, the ground.
yeah. So, is that something you guys are gonna check into, or do I need to?
You just tell us which one you want us, I mean, we could, if
We
that's what
see-
you,
We see, I mean,
Well, without,
to me, the very nice lot out there is the east of Mead Road on Newcastle, along the highway.
yeah, that's a good one.
But they're probably gonna want a lot of money for that.
well, they've got to exercise their option on the whole thing, I noticed that,
Right.
you know, we're talking about.
Yeah, I thought the city had offered that.
They were, I don't know if they officially got it, but Jeff said that that place was good, except for a bug road. So the city must have it more, or close enough that they can start saying it's a percent.
I'll drive out there and look at those two, lots, but,
I find out how wide they are, because that's pretty long, so they're probably not too wide.
What, those 2 5-acre?
Because they got.
I kinda looked at an overhead map, and it was about looked like it was, the line was about the third terrace down, but I didn't measure off how far it was down there, but, I mean, it was,
That dips off, and you wouldn't have any, all that water would be draining off.
One east of.
East of Gold Star.
yeah. Yeah, it dropped off a little bit, but it's relatively fairly flat.
I think they're right here from us, so they would have to.
I guess that the email that I got sent to me like that was probably what, yeah, just put our desire in and they'll come up with something.
But that lot already has sewer and water available,
Soon.
and if we bought over by Mead Road, we'd have to.
You'd have to
pay for
hook
the
in, I
sewer
mean,
problem.
the line, they tell me the line probably would be
But
high.
now, I don't know, that goes east of Gold Star, may not have it hooked up yet, I don't know.
That's gotta be right there.
You have to be right there, yeah. The whole line, the whole sewer line, I mean, they'd have to.
Yeah, 'cause I know it follows the 73 in the town, 'cause it comes right by the, recycle center there.
I remember at the lots they had there, when they had the 2 5-acre lots that went joint to joint, and they had the other one up by the water tower, and they had the one down there south of Strips 4.
I don't think it would be down there by the, in that hole down there by the water house. That used to be a sediment pond. I just don't think,
Some of it probably fell with it.
but yeah, but.
And there is one hell of a spring there, right west of Gold Star, back
Yeah.
behind there. I mean, it used
Yep.
to be,
There still is,
it's a spring now.
I know they always have to go in and take the beaver dams out of, Howlett Drain down there.
The higher up we stay, the better off. And if this doesn't work, we just use that to pursue, but look somewhere else, that's all there is to it. You know, we got excited when we thought the bids, they were, they may not be that cheap.
So,
Well, I still 2,500 stuff in the week. Did they take the 2 patrols? Murphy take the 2?
Nope. He was gonna take them, and then he went back and talked to their guy back at, Murphy, and he said, they told him that they couldn't take them until they delivered the new machine. So we parked them in the shed back there, and I told everybody to just stay away from them, and they're just sitting there, and we might fire them up, make sure the batteries up on and stuff, but, for a couple months, it was one set.
Jeff went down and seen the shop down, he didn't actually get it, because he didn't know which one it was, I think he drove around and wasn't anybody, so, but, you haven't seen it yet. That's plenty big for us, isn't it?
I would think so. The only thing I did think about was, possibly making off like one of the corners more of an office, and maybe giving us a little more shop room inside, I don't know.
Well, but, you know, I guess my question to you is 80 foot, you get there were two full bays, there actually was 5 different bays you could have used if you
Yeah.
for that. And they are a county bay, I mean, they're not the county town, so I mean, they got a lot more equipment, I just figured if that got them by, that should get that would be easy.
Well, it's gonna be, it's a heck of a lot more than what we got now.
Oh, yeah, but
My only question is, without seeing it, I was thinking more oblong, that way you'd have more room to versus an 80 by 80.
Oh, instead of a long, you're talking.
Say 160 or whatever the square footage you need, then that way you'd have some more, because I think we want to put a lean-to to pull some of that stuff in.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, you can get 2 or 3 different kinds of buildings.
Probably your long skinny is gonna be cheaper than your 80 by 80 foot.
Probably because they won't have to span as far.
Exactly.
They won't have to use as heavy as
Square footage will be cheaper.
rafters.
Mhm.
What do you need a 60 foot?
I just throw that out there.
Well, I'm saying is, it's no need to make it any wider, I mean, you can't hardly get 2
No.
in there, so I mean, just enough, something big enough for, of course, you gotta get the semi and the trailer on it that you wanna get in there. Do we have,
Normally you would pull the trigger unless you
Wouldn't
didn't
have
want
to,
to.
no.
I don't know, I guess we could,
Price some different stuff.
we could all go down there sometime, or I could go down with Jeff and,
yeah, Jeff
No.
never really got inside to see that, but he drove around and thought anything.
So it's right straight east of that blue filling station.
It's the first corner north, isn't it?
yeah.
How far east do you have to go on that filling station?
Couple of blocks.
Yeah, just a couple blocks, there's a state, wasn't a state shop there?
Something like that.
And then the county shop was right on the side.
Yeah, they've actually.
Just right before you get to the flashing lights.
Of all that real ground down there, I wonder why they would build it back in there. That's not really the location.
And that's where their old shop was before, and it burnt down.
And they was able to buy some ground, they got quite a few acres back in line, was able to acquire.
Yeah, he did say that they got the ground.
What do you suppose the ground where the shop is now, if that was all cleaned up, what kind of money you put on that?
I have no
And
idea.
we got so much crap out there that we don't wanna pursue that, we just wanna have the county on that from now on.
What's that?
Where the shop is now, we got gas bill, diesel
I
bill, all that stuff.
think there's a possibility the city would be interested.
The best part of that place out there is that lean-to clear out there on the west end, all the rest of that needs to be, is pretty much done, I think.
Yeah. Well, it served its purpose in 1948.
Well, that land does have some value.
Yeah, but the city wanted us to take it, or they were gonna offer some money?
I don't know, I haven't directly talked, I just heard Jen directly that they might, so, here you go.
Well, we did have some discussions about that. I don't know if I ever want to get into an open session about what we'd be doing to sell it.
Getting back to the
We don't need, we need to get this other going first, so.
I would say oversize a little bit, don't get carried away, but oversize, because you'll fill it,
So,
just get some options.
well, that was the only reason I was bringing up possibly adding like out front more office space, cause then that would give you more storage area or.
I
I think
like
that's the thing I liked about theirs was is they utilized that one corner by having the office under the building was built and they just blocked off that one area.
But see, they've got their other office up there on top of the hill.
I know, but.
They're not even using that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it didn't look like it was usable, but that would have been plenty of space.
I'll tell you what I really like is, out, on 286,
The water department.
no, where,
Oh, Chartiers.
Chartiers,
Chartiers.
that's what I was
Chartiers is
envisioning.
really nice.
You know, kind of a office space off of a corner of it like that.
Dressing up a little bit.
Yeah, you know, not to get over extravagant, but that does make it look nice.
You know, Scott's in all that big inside, have you been in there?
No, I
His
haven't.
office, his office is.
Well, they don't take too much, they tell me the water house is about $250,000 on that.
Scott had nothing like that in his, of course, his is not.
That water office is pretty nice inside. Have you been there?
That's steel, yeah.
I think
See,
so.
Scott's is, he had them, people up north of his. Can't think of the name now.
Nothing wrong. Is it wood, is it wood frame? Think on like Asheville, is it?
This guy used to work for Morton and went out.
Gross?
Who?
Gross building.
That could be.
He's from Holt, yeah, he put our in the show.
This guy used to work for,
Yep,
I thought, it was Scott.
Chris Gross,
I thought it was.
yeah, he's
So I
done.
looked at some of those books, and the price is good, but that's just for the building. I mean, you can get a heck of a building for $89,000, but then that's not put up. I mean, I'm talking big buildings.
I mean, when we get down to it, we're probably gonna have to get something engineered.
Sure.
You know, we're gonna have to have a blueprint.
Well, yeah, because if you're out there, I mean, that's zone.
That,
I
and
mean, if.
we're gonna have the bed to get put up and everything, and
Chances are who you buy it, who you buy the building, but, or that offer that service.
you know, we call the general.
Is it, yeah.
But
Well,
the ground's perfect.
just, yeah, and just sometime in your spare time, once you get the bridge cleaned out there,
Hmm.
you can be thinking about the plan. I mean, yeah, it's not urgent, but
Well, I was even thinking about, you know, if we really liked, Jefferson counties, we could probably just go down there and get their blueprints and just build one, you know, if that's what we wanted to do.
What kind of building for that, you know?
anybody,
I mean,
still,
I know.
I don't know if he said
But
he
we're
put it
gonna
up.
build it. Send it up.
2007 is when they put that up.
But even so, those are probably copyrighted,
Yeah.
so we have to,
The engineers.
And things have may change since then too.
Always gotta be a lawyer,
well,
That's what he's saving it so you don't have to represent us later on.
That's it, it's, easier to ask for giving us information.
Absolutely.
I think you told me that.
yeah. Do we have just a little less than 2 acres now?
Probably.
An acre's 209 to 209, 209 feet to 209 feet. Somebody would have more than 2 acres.
Is it 43,560 feet?
That's how many feet there is in a mile.
No, 5,000.
5,200.
5,200, yeah, 43,060.
It's 209 times 209, that's it.
43 now, that's.
I'd say we're pushing 3 acres up there. We're not that wide.
Yeah,
That's pretty
no.
long. That's probably what,
That's 43,681. The county records show 82,764 square feet.
With having the storage space out of the landfill to transfer station and everything, what's, if price comes to factors, with 5.5 acres to
Well,
crowds?
yeah, it would if we kept our storage. I was kinda leaning towards hopefully getting everything
yeah.
sort of centralized, so if I wanna know if we have a culvert, you know, you can walk out the door and look.
You're talking,
That happens at the way out the
you're
door.
talking 5 acres, even at 4,000 an acre, that's only 20,000 more. I think you'd want to tack that on. But I'll get you.
I just asked this question.
Yeah, you know, we're cramped now, and it'd just be nice not to have some worry, you know?
Yeah.
Have some space, if you wanted to,
What
you
time
can put a rock pile there, you know, and
Rock
you could
pile or?
pile of rock.
Your salt
You might have
shed.
a salt shed.
I think you want to update your fuel system to where you can get a transport done.
And that's what they had down there at, Jeff County, too.
They had plenty of space, they had 20-some acres in it. Where they were buying.
I'll tell you what, you get 11 acres in somewhere up, you put your building up and your salt and parking and your equipment, they're half of it's gone. And if you want to start some rock out there, which I think would be good.
Yeah, 11 acres, I'm just visualizing something of 7 acres lot, 7 to 8 acres. That's quite a big area.
Well, I agree to disagree with Mike, if you're talking $25,000 an acre, I'd say, yeah, you want to get by the minimum, but if we get the ground water, $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 an acre, I'd say that's a good time to do it.
Yeah, there's no doubt the prices, it's a fact.
Prices,
But,
I had one PO, it's, you've already approved this for the Husker Steel Bridge, but I want to get a PO signed on that.
you might get some calls, because I don't know, if Logan messing up or Jeff messing up, sending 4 weeks the bridge will be in.
Yeah.
4 weeks construction, I noticed that, I think, or so.
Yeah. It's gonna be,
You gotta get us going.
oh, yeah.
Give us for 2. Okay, let's see any new news on, Mr. Bowman?
Well, we had
the
a,
township, the township, meetings.
had a township meeting last night, and he didn't show up, so.
Was Charlie up there, wasn't he?
No,
Yeah, 5 years.
he dropped the book off, and then he got back there about 9 o'clock, so. And then also went over to Gene's deal. Yeah.
We'll figure it, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how you, I feel like it's a township problem, that's why I don't know.
well, I think part of it's just a tack on you, too. I think it's partly a tack on you, he's trying to get you
Oh,
caught in between two.
This is gonna go back and forth, and it's gonna go way, way up, of course. It already has.
I think I know what Rick's talking about, it's just straight north of him on that.
Yeah, where Vera Culture used to live, Vera and Dawn,
You're on who? What's your name?
Vera Swartzer, Don Swartzer. He bought their home place, that's where he lives.
Okay, yeah, I know.
I'm trying to think,
Is there much traffic on that road?
it's a little dirt road. It's a outhouse, that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
Being the bridges are the county's responsibility, are we gonna get pulled into this pat, push come and shove?
Well, potentially, I don't see much exposure. I mean, if the bridges would be our responsibility, but we don't just make up the numbers to go. You know, are these culverts or, is this a culvert or a bridge? So it's a
It's
bridge
an
that's
inspected
been
bridge.
inspected and somebody, you know, an engineer set the weight on it, so it isn't like we just made up a number. So, this is what we're going to currently put in. The terminology wise, we're responsible for the culverts, and culverts include bridges under its 20 feet.
Anything 20 square feet or opening or bigger is considered a bridge.
Okay. So, and some of those are timber, we would call it a bridge, but it's a culvert under the definition of the statute.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I'll take that back, I was wrong. Anything 20 foot or longer
20
is a bridge.
foot.
Anything shorter than 20 foot is considered a culvert. We would call a bridge, but it's still considered a culvert. Under statute.
So those, I could see a little argument about if we were arbitrarily setting, if we put a 1 ton weight limit on it. I could see some argument about it, but if it's uniform, or if it's set by, after a study, an engineer sets it, I really can't see the any exposure at all.
I mean, it's, if it had to be bladed, you could get on with a tractor blade.
Yeah. We've got a tractor, and that's what I told him we might do, is we might just go down there with a tractor and blade and blade it up with that.
Well, the only time usually your dirt roads need to be graded is after somebody went down and created a little bit of a rut. That's the criteria.
That's the next thing, you probably go out there today, before it's raining, you have ruts.
Well, there's not a house on it, but
Not on that stretch.
Talking about tubes, I noticed in your budget, you didn't have a whole lot of budgets for tubes. Is there a reason?
I think it's,
Yeah, actually, I doubled it from last year.
That gets down, ain't very much for tubes.
yeah, but he's got a lot more 2 foot, 3 foot tubes, smaller tubes, but you're thinking of big tubes.
Another worked out, we're talking about, we're talking some of our bridges, was taken down, you did it pretty quick.
Well,
We
yeah,
can't do them
people-
all in 1 year.
No, but 2 foot tubes, what?
2 foot 2 is probably,
$20 a foot?
see, for, I know, like a 15-inch, 40-foot long is like, $300 or $400.
You get 50,000. For the smaller tubes.
Yeah, actually, I've been spending, say, around $25,000 a year in culverts, and I about doubled that because of the big culverts, because they're gonna be $5,000 to $7,000, somewhere around in that range.
And if we take that approach to start replacing, when we can, replacing those bridges with those culverts, still have it in hand. I think that's probably one thing we'll be looking into, is having land and some of that. You gotta have some bridging, I mean, you look at any place, we can do some of this.
Yeah, I know, I was looking at, I'd like to,
286.
286, that, there we call it Rabbit Road, that.
Yeah, we call it that.
Okay.
Just east of Chicago.
Yeah, that one I'd like to replace, the one up here just north of town, I think we looked at, that's another one that won't require a permit, we just go and replace it. And possibly the one up there,
Yeah, like I said, you'll have to do a little figuring on that, but I still think that, in checking into it, I still think that 2 tubes will work on both of those.
well, I know it'll work,
It's just a matter of what each other states.
right.
So, everybody gets cut out, and it's not gonna cut out, I mean, I got that for a year. They owe us that.
They do.
there are a fair number of counties that simply ignore those requirements, and I totally advocate doing that. There are a fair number of counties.
No, but I hear this guy, he says we'll give you more latitude, other ones he's not gonna come out there, and if you're within 10 square feet of what they're required, he said no matter what, but he understands that. You know, and he basically said we do the measurement and stuff, and I don't have any clue how they go about it. A lot of the bridges, I mean, the main part where the water goes, if you have to count all that slopes, then again, it's not serving much purpose. So if you just measure the actual opening, where it'd be a lot less than what the actual opening is as far as, I mean, I don't know how they, do you know how they measure?
I think they measure the total opening, but you know as well as I do, it's going through a 7-foot culvert right up the road.
Yeah.
So if we put in even two 8-footers,
Yeah.
we're doubling what it just up the road happened on.
Yeah, it's gonna back up way before it ever gets there. Yeah. Well, but it's a mile or so up from where
Was there a permit for that culvert?
I doubt it.
Because the culvert was up there?
It was one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, because Ed told me, he said it wasn't, so I mean, there's nothing they can do about that. It comes out of County Lake.
I think they could do something. I mean, I'm not,
No, he
I'm
talked
trying to
like,
get it.
no, he didn't talk like there's any issue with it. He just said, you know, if it was, he said it wasn't. He didn't.
Until 6 years ago, we never got punished for anything. Unless it was an engineer bridge. We just go out and do it.
In the good old days.
Good old days.
I like to see it go through 70 seconds.
Yeah.
And then a week later, they changed the regulations.
Alright, well.
So,
Alright. I'll go out there and look at the. Get back up.
Sure, really.
Yep.
Harrington Bridge. I knew David, because David just called me right before I called you.
Yeah.
And then I returned the call, I had my phone off, because I was in a hospital, and so I knew he was gonna go out there, but I had no idea. Kenny could give those. Man,
Yeah. Neither one of them was too bad. They realize that we inherited the problem, so that's a lot from me.
I would say, if we've not seen it, if it takes hiring somebody and getting some kind of machine, get in there and get the tree out.
Well, the problem is right now, it won't go nowhere because
May
the water,
have one holding up on the bank, I mean, I don't know exactly what, but need.
Well, I'll call that.
Did that appear to be what was holding up on the south side?
No, it just looked like all that stuff right in the middle was still sitting on silt. It just looked like it hadn't got high enough to float it up to me. It should have been that far. Doesn't look like it ever came over the top of that pile to me. We reached down with the hoe and grabbed that big tree that's laying there, and we moved it sideways about 5 foot, and it's just laying there on the dirt. I mean, you can't see it on it, but it's sitting on something, and we moved it. It's just sitting there. It should. The water comes up, it should be gone.
I hate to say it, but I'd like to, how many of them trees pushed in by some of those guys?
Well, nothing else, I'll call that guy that's got that long range hoe and talk to him, and,
I'm sure you'll have a minimum for coming up, but
well, that's what I told them. I said, it's gonna cost us the most just to get in there.
And where's he at?
It's a 816, it must be Missouri, but, I don't know, it's St. Joe.
There was a guy, I don't know where he's from, that pond over my neck of the woods that had lost. Oh, I never seen it.
Well, they said this guy's got a 40-foot reach.
I'd say that's probably what this guy did, man, it was out there.
they try to tell me it's 60.
60? Maybe it is, I don't know. Man, 60-foot, you're, I mean, our hose is 20 foot.
It is, I thought that was 20. So David have his tape measure there to measure.
You told me back there, But anyway, I'll call around and get some prices, so if it does come to that, we'll.
Sound good. Yeah.
Did you get your walnut cracker?
It's a crowd tamer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But now, you break down one or what?
Oh, it's here.
That one's Jeff.
That's Jeff, yeah. I don't even know.
Oh, you all got one?
Yeah, I don't know. Mine may be in the Jeff. I have no idea.
That's for the one crowd.
I like being second or third fiddle, so I think we'll be done selecting on this one.
You got a,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in a courtroom when a judge has actually used one for anything. I mean, maybe for just, like if they do it every time, the docket or something.
I've used it on the LJDC board when we start getting out in left field and we're 3 hours behind time, I'll say, let's get back to business tonight.
Isn't that something out in farming meetings you get off?
And that's exactly, we start farming and how good you're going and
I run into that with my dairy guy. You know, we only get together about 3 times a year. 45-minute business meeting lasts 3.5 hours.
yep.
Josh,
Yes, sir.
you're wanting to know your request, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think we decided not this year.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I think his heart's in the right place, but he has got all.
I'm gonna leave this here for the delegate to the KAC conference.
Oh, we have designated delegate on there.
Well, you're supposed to designate a delegate and 2 alternates.
When does that be in?
Sometime within an office.
That's October 29th. Is that what was?
Got a half, see,
October
October 20th. Thank you. I know where all that is. Bill, you conduct a meeting on.
All right.
Okay.
You didn't raise your hand, you're not.
What's that?
You didn't raise your hand, you're teacher.
They want to pass the budget law or not.
We throw it in, that's what we know, or we don't do that.
Gosh, that's where we can. Our church used to walk on hand.
Mine doesn't have any annotations.
Church,
Yeah, what-
big annotations.
Oh, what's on? Okay, so,
Do we have to take care of our own rooms on this, or you'll do this, or KAC will do this, or?
It's.
I already have room.
Yeah, you can't, that's it.
I did them last year.
You did them last year. Yeah, you already called, you got a reservation already.
I had called next day.
Yeah. You, when we got to Pico, you called, yeah, you were gonna call the next day.
I was trying to call back right then, I
Right.
seen you, but they wouldn't let, they hadn't released them yet.
Oh.
But they wouldn't release them until noon the next day. And I think I only have the three commissioners and Pat and myself.
Is yours conference the same time?
Well, we can't make it now, so. That's what it's okay.
There's can't, we can roll, we can roll a little bit, get into the area. 5 minutes.
So I do have rooms and confirmation. I think I made one for Pat too. Are you going to Pat?
Going to what?
Okay, you see.
Okay, see,
When is it?
end of October, 29th to 31st or something.
Well, usually the county councilors just have something one day, I think.
I think you're at a different hotel, so.
Where is it?
Wichita.
I don't know.
October, right?
You said the 29th? Is it a Monday?
Said it, Wichita, October 29th through 31st. All official business is conducted will be on Thursday morning, October 31st, as part of our final session. Lunch will be served to press people.
Seems like an odd time to have it, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
I got a better break on the calendar.
Let's see if you can.
Yeah.
Because they used to have it on, you go in on a Sunday, so they have it Monday too. to help them downstairs, so
I didn't, we have panicked up and get the sheriff up there.
I mean, do you want me to call down and tell them?
Is that joint communications,
I don't know if it's joint or if it's,
sheriff?
can we call joint?
Is it locked?
It's locked, it's up.
He just didn't turn something back on.
We'll find out what it is.
There's a mobile page from that.
That sounds like James Leeper and Nelson Burgess.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, so this is calling me, and we're up in the county commission room. And, I think it's the room that has radio stuff in it.
Commissioner?
I don't know, they said there's a gentleman in there this morning.
Yes. Well, there's like a radio or something in this.
I guess it's office policy, somebody,
They turn the volume up.
forget it. Focus and see, thanks. Bye.
Yeah. It's in a closet, we don't really need it. That's all. All right, thank you.
Is that Maggie?
Yeah.
She must have been on the phone when I called her. Did you tell her that
Is this off?
maybe you forgot to turn the volume down?
Did she control it there? Did she just turn it off? Because I thought it sounded like it stopped in the middle.
Okay, then. Free Thursday. Free Thursday.
Am I free?
Are you free Thursday?
Yeah. Correct.
Yes, we did,
Kim Pruitt, call extension 2304.
Pat, how should we proceed, or who should we proceed with? We probably need to be getting some plans and estimates about being the ambulance, redoing the ambulance station. Out the transfer station.
oh, well, and we need to get some plans.
That's what I mean,
First.
don't you think that, we probably ought to put text and let them kind of,
Yeah, I was gonna suggest,
Texas, Roger.
you could help them, I suppose, but imagine you could, if they could come up with whatever. They kind of think we basically need,
yeah.
because
so-
we've got the money, we might as well, I mean, once we decide on our transfer station, the scale's there, then we'll know how much you got left to use for that. I was hoping we'd have enough of those, but the scale's coming in too high, we may not. Then we just don't change it, the more the haul is coming in too high. But I think, you did, it's $355 is what you requested for that
Right.
vehicle. And we used $155 now for the two ambulances. Do we have a fund for that? Would that be under debt or whatever?
We can use some bond money for what you think about this.
Being interrupted,
Is there something going on?
they were chasing somebody around town.
Doesn't sound like.
You had a guy working on it this morning.
They have $191,000.
How much?
$191,000.
191, okay.
Is the, what we've already paid out, so it's
Two ambulances.
72,000, and the 13,000 for the, not the pilot park, or whatever you call that, red thing.
Black car.
Oh, we moved that into there, okay. Reimbursed. So we took that, so that didn't come out of the ambulance fund.
Oh, thank you. We paid, spent out probably $163, $162,000,
For what?
163 total.
163. Could be more, I was just figuring a little, 163, or maybe a little bit more, that we've already paid out.
From that loan. From the loan, on the loan, yeah. Okay. That'd be pretty close, because I think the ambulances were 155, but we apparently used some of that to pay something else.
Yeah, that's red car.
The red car, that's what we reimbursed, so that didn't actually come out of the ambulance fund.
Well, the 13, one,
See, under the operating, on the, we got an operating budget for ambulance. That's, is there any way you could give me a printout on that, what we've actually spent on the operating expenses of the ambulance? That's where I wanna kinda know where we're at, because I know we spend a lot of money out of there. And get an idea, I'm anticipating we'll have a little money left in there, we could buy a little bit of that equipment that they're requesting. They'll need $275,000. That's for those things that are number one. But I see 160 of that is ambulance, and another 60 is
Good matters.
the park.
What do you think it's gonna cost to fix all that?
To fix the recycling center,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, they charge us 50 for everything. That was one way and a quarter. They didn't have, they had to add it on just a little bit. But they'll have to put 3 new doors on out there. And bring the wall down. I mean, really, the living quarter, I mean, I'm gonna guess that from the bathrooms,
Yeah, but in the bathrooms already out there where they were.
when they go on the West Rescue side. That's what they'll have to figure out. What to do. See, that's the other idea that Bob should have, and that is,
I don't think it's unreasonable to have people walk 15 feet down the hallway to use the shower, though.
no.
That is nice, Effingham. It's kind of cramped where it's at, but once you get in, it's nice working. It's pretty
Well,
nice.
we're trying to make use of the building. Yeah. I mean, Jamie and I thought 35,000 should have done it, but that was, the bid we took was 10,000 cheaper than anybody else. I'm almost convinced 2 or 3 of these, they get together and say, well, you bid this, and I don't bid this, and they come bid against each other. It's for the county, right?
I don't see that so much as I sometimes see only one of the 3 usually bids, you know, that you have. Some just sitting out for no real apparent reason. I do have a memorandum of understanding with our appraiser. I know we're halfway through, but should I do a wait till Jeff is back?
Yeah, let's wait till Jeff back, but, yeah, we need to act on that.
Have we ever got officially anything after July 26th, is that was the last day of Chamber of Commerce? If I remember right.
Well, that's what we were told.
I'll tell you something else, I don't know how good our northeast Kansas, whatever you call it, where you sewers, because I applied for a license. And Dennis Foster come down, and I told him he checked the solar, everything was good, and when I got my system in, my contractor contacted him, everything was good. I got a registered letter yesterday saying I owe another $300 because I haven't followed through on this permit project or whatever. So I go down there after the meeting Monday, and the secretary blames Dennis Foster, and Dennis Foster blames the secretary.
Well, how long have you been waiting for photographs of these nuisance places?
Yes.
I don't know, I mean, he's supposed to be retired, and he's back doing them a favor, and generally, though, when you talk to him, it's totally reasonable.
Yeah, he's gonna come down tomorrow, he said, I'm gonna open the door, shake your hands, and go back. He said, I gotta physically see. I know you're done and everything's good, but I noticed one of those places out west cleaned up, but I think a couple of them actually gotten worse.
Lot 59. If you have time after the meeting, you can drive out there and look at them. If you want to. So you're gonna make note of them.
Yeah, the one right there, I think the better's right there on the west side of the old Tate filling station now. I don't know if he had a flea market 7 days a week or what, I think that's actually better. And then the one that's gotten worse, and I'd say twice as worse, is the asphalt. Little Joe's or whatever it is with the yellow stripes, it looks like there's twice as much stuff out there now as there was 3 months ago.
That's also a function of not having zoning.
Yeah, but doesn't the city have the right to go out so many miles or so far from the city limits and?
Only subdivision regulations is all they. I don't know the answer to the question. They only exercise jurisdiction over subdivision regulations. I think they can do zoning, but they have not.
Zoning would be all right if they use common sense, but I haven't yet seen zoning really use common sense.
Yeah, after a couple of incidents, well, I'm about ready for it. I just wish you could take it. We should have its own incident by incident. Yeah, that tower out there in Scottish, it didn't hear what they said. They told it was gonna be 1 in 10. And there's 12 on there right now. And
Is it done?
oh, yeah, it's up, it's going. There's 12 antennas on that thing already, and they're only the tower's 199 feet, that way it keeps certain regulations. But these antennas are at least halfway down. And instead of shooting directly up toward the sky, they only got 2% trajectory. This is what's concerning Sandy. She's a radiologist, is the radiation of it. Luckily, the people that have the antennas on there are GoDaddy, I believe it is, something like that. Her son knows somebody in GoDaddy, and GoDaddy sent people out there, and they're gonna be monitoring the radiation from it. So whether they keep up their contract, maybe it's a problems.
I know some of that Verizon tower down there on me, they got a bunch of, they look like they're here's going up and here's lines up and they're working on it, they put that thing up like that. But on one side, they got about 6 or 8, 3 cables, looks like to me that's gonna collect ice and water, put a lot of pressure on that tower, because they put it on one corner versus up the middle of it. I presume they know what they're doing. Yeah. Okay, next Tuesday, you're aware that we're on 2 o'clock, because we have to next Tuesday.
Oh.
I think next Tuesday you were ready a little bit later usually.
Oh, that's right. I have a hearing at 1. So it's on the county case, but it's there. That should be our last hearing on that case. Request for DNA testing a murder case. After all this.
We discussed a little bit too, you had mentioned that you thought you were gonna have a lot more cases this year, and we discussed that when we was looking at the budget. If there was nothing there about juveniles moving them, and you had mentioned.
Oh, about juvenile detention?
Yes.
It's pretty likely we're gonna go over. We have one in detention now.
Some of these,
Level one.
we're gonna have to move down here,
No.
that's the wrong place. Usually our two circuit.
We don't have here until August 19th, so it was in there for 3 more weeks.
So these, we're gonna have to move down here.
I forget what you had in there, but it wasn't much.
I think it's 20,000.
I think so.
I think it's been 20,000 for,
And I think you're missing, it could be formula or something, possibly.
it depends on the year.
And-
You know, if we, 3 years ago, we had 2 juveniles, 2 girls that were charged with sex offenses against a little boy. And I think they spent each 90 days in detention. Well,
Oh, yeah, it has to be
$150 a day.
We already reimbursed it, but I need
It
help.
really ratchets up.
Oh, I
And
see.
do it so that it will show.
I see what you're
I
saying.
did reach out to,
I think
Sean
this-
Christensen, the director, about
This,
us paying maybe both a minimum and a maximum.
I thought this was pretty.
So we have a little more certainty, and they have a little more certainty in budgeting. I have a client that works there, and she said that, there were a couple times that we've had one person increase there. And so,
Yeah, but.
Sean's pretty sharp, right?
Yeah, most of them are.
Sean's pretty
It's
sharp.
just-
Yeah, he
So,
definitely is.
He's gonna ask
Yeah.
Cam how to do it to increase, so that it does increase, yeah.
But that's pretty close to what I got.
59,000 right now, so we
Okay.
have some more. We'll have fees to come
Yeah,
out
those are the
too,
things, yeah.
so that we can come down a little bit
Do you know
more.
where we are, this detention cost this year? I've not looked at what the actual expenditures have been.
I was a little bit concerned, because I don't think it's getting 15 or 18%.
Yeah, what's the utilities, and that's basically all.
They said they've been all right for a while, but then they didn't know where they was gonna
You
be.
get rid of that, that's not.
Then they talked about taking a new facility, 10-bed facility. Well, I think that was Wagner County.
Still.
Doing that.
They haven't got.
Well, they built that one, and it's only 6 beds. I
There
don't
was
know
discussion
why.
about building one more bed.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, I don't know why, I think they could use the one they have,
It's a good thing
the
I
work
printed
release
it.
center or something, so.
Purchase it.
I don't know why they built it so small. It's,
So what are,
Huh.
yeah,
The biggest concern
You
that
want
I
me
took
to
out
call
of
the
it
other
was
one
the sex.
too, is contractual,
Take
it's
pictures.
just so-
Yeah.
So that's
so these are the ones you, these here?
oh,
We're gonna have to move it
it
down.
definitely is.
Yeah, here, that's all, they're gonna be part of the expense, but.
Yeah, but it's not the appropriation.
Our statutes don't really,
But let me go on,
It's
let me
a-
check.
it may be a misdemeanor to just ask a 10-year-old, will you do this indecent thing? But it's a felony to ask them on a cell phone. Well, kids today don't talk, you know?
Yeah, they said if you're prosecuted, you're a sex offender for the rest of your life, but yet 2 16-year-olds can have sex and nothing's done. But Judge King said he was real concerned. He said, this is a big problem. And so did, Tom Weiser. Did Tom Weiser?
Well, everything's a big problem.
That's true. That's true. I took a 2-hour meeting. For everything.
You predicted up there things will happen, one of them will. See, I was right.
Should get printed out of the cost of operating the meeting, you know. The incidental expense, like the rent, utilities, and stuff like that, give me an idea of where we are, with how much we budget this year, how much we're gonna budget for next, have to budget for next year.
Talking about budget, I was wondering the other night, you know, when they're saying, okay, I want 200,000 or 50,000 for capital outlay. Why doesn't it show how much money is left in capital outlay for this year? So we kind of,
It is.
it is in the big folder, but why is it on that budget proposals?
Well, I just don't take time to go look. But that's their capital improvement fund, I mean, that's kind of, you know, that's not their present, you wanna talk about what they got left in their present fund?
Like, we get down to where we gotta start cutting a little bit, to me, that would be a place where if they got quite a bit left over, you may not give them quite as much. That would be a
Well,
way to cut.
that's the only bad thing about, I think Paul Lincoln test, that when you do the budget this time of year, you don't know. If you do the budget in November, you'll have a pretty good idea.
That's
where
true,
you're at.
that's true.
But there could be some really surprises come in. I mean, somebody could have 20,000 and 25,000 in their capital outlay budget,
2 weeks from now,
and all of a sudden, wham, they don't have anything. So, I mean, it's better to just wait, carry that over. You can always then use that the next year, because it's unbudgeted. I mean, it goes into the capital improvement fund, and then you can use that. You can use that money, and then, I mean, that's why it's good to have, term slush isn't right, but have some reserves on hand.
So,
Slush is pretty, that's a little too rough.
so basically, the tables we set with, where they had 5 million, 10 million left over, that's basically how they get there, they just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. You know, some of those counties have one way of a surplus.
Pratt had 30 million.
I know, we don't have 200,000, 300,000, something like that.
Well, if you figure all the capital improvement funds, there's what, 600,000, 700,000. If you figure all the capital improvement funds, and what they're at now.
I think somebody asked Randall a question, wasn't it 10 or 15% is not out of the norm to have?
The statute now allows you to build in 10%, you can even let the tax for 10%
Over budget.
But a lot of departments don't have capital outlay anymore.
Yeah, some of them don't have capital.
So, I mean, prior budget commissioner said we don't, you don't get capital outlay anymore.
Really?
I know several years ago, Jerry Kupfelman put in his budget to give you a copier, because his copier was making noises, and then he did buy one. And so the next year, they said, well, obviously didn't need that money, so he cut it out of his budget, so he couldn't get one the next year either.
I think, did Chris get hold of you about something about, he wanted to make sure that we have resolutions on file that establish these these capital improvement fund?
It's not all done.
Oh, yeah, well, some of these been around, I'm not sure if it's all done. He just wanted to double check and make sure that they were, according to statute, I mean,
That might be a question for your auditor too. That should have been checked, if we have money in the funds, that should have been checked. That's part of the audit.
that a resolution had been passed. Of course, in general, I guess, would you have to have a resolution for each fund, or could you have just a general resolution?
Yeah, probably just one resolution.
Well, make a note, we'll make a note of that, maybe and ask, tell Chris to get over and on it, see what she checked that out too.
We got an email from somebody where the audit's done, we should be getting a hard copy of it or something.
I forwarded to you.
Yes.
I forwarded to all the commissioners, and to Chris, I forwarded. Final audit.
Yeah.
Pauline, could you put on the agenda for next week memorandum of understanding of the clear grants?
Memorandum of what?
Understanding?
August 6th?
Yeah. Actually, I have, it's signed by him, you could put it in the packet.
He's supposed to be here today, according to Debbie Thomas.
No, we'll talk to him back.
Hmm?
Those are the originals, but you can put it in the packet.
Oh, this is for, okay, Sunday rental.
They've been signed, those are the originals, they've been signed.
So I can put it where? Oh, for him to sign. For the,
Put it in the packet.
for the commission.
So they, the agenda, they read it.
Okay, gotcha.
But we need the originals back, so if they approve it, they can sign.
Okay, scan them and then scan one of them. And bring the originals back.
Yes.
So, should I ask Dennis about the nuisance thing tomorrow, or just meet with him at 9 o'clock? or
Yeah.
at My place.
Absolutely.
Ask him where we at on this?
Yeah, yeah. He dropped by, he did drop by some pictures, but he left a note that he didn't have time to go through and put the addresses on them, and he was coming back the next day to pick them up to put the addresses on them. So, I don't want there to be confusion about, oh, I already did that. I could bring you the note where he says he's coming back to pick it back up.
I will mention that to him, he's supposed to be at my place at 9 o'clock. He may stop by.
Yeah, well, hopefully, if he's gonna be down here, hopefully he would stop by.
I'll just tell him he needs to stop by the patch if you got time.
Yeah, hopefully he would.
So you're looking probably 9:30, 9:45, somewhere there.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically,
I should be.
I think what he's saying, yeah, that's basically the only kind of reserve fund, we don't have secret money sitting around in an item account that you can access. That's what they, that, I remember when they was up here on the solid waste assessment, they were thinking, we have accounts sitting out there that was under CD or something. To my knowledge, we didn't, so.
Yeah, I have heard rumors of that too. We have $12 million in CDs.
What I think people see is I've been told the treasury, they move, because you don't need all, they periodically roll them 3 months at a time to collect the interest, but it's actually operating money that you will need. Understand what I mean, and rather than let their idle, then they invest it for 2 or 3 months CD or something, so. I do think at one time, I think Floyd told me they had close to $2 million. But that may also include these capital improvement funds, that we're pulling some money out of. And a lot of those are funds that were, they transferred from say,
You
so.
can look at that two different ways. Not picking on the press, but they did absolutely nothing. They didn't keep nothing up. I mean, look at the facilities, the vehicle, where they're gonna go. So I can very easily see that build up, because they never did nothing.
Yeah, but it still ain't a great amount of money to have on hand for emergency.
No.
I mean, because even though it's listed, it's technically general fund money, but it's always been kind of understanding that we use it for that, department needed that, well, that's kind of been the understanding. It is kind of general money, but it's always been trying to apply it to the department that, so.
In 2007, we had 1.4 million in the capital outlay improvement.
In when, 2007?
Seven.
See, that's over twice what we got now.
To what point do you stop correcting some of the problems financially? I think we're about there. We did a lot of spending this year.
So far. Maybe we haven't got the budget for it.
I'm just hoping we can get on that health saving and save that $400,000 or $500,000. That's gonna be huge. That is gonna be huge.
Anybody got anything else? No, you said let's sit up here, tell more stories. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
That's what I'm going to share.
I second that. All in favor of adjourning at 3:28, say aye. Aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. I'm gonna take my business stuff home.
Do you want to go look at those nuisance places or some other time?
Mike?
you two can't go together.
Well, if you're with, if we all three go together, we should.
Well, have adjourned.
They can reopen again.
I think, yeah, we can reopen and do that, go to a work session or something.
Oh,
Yeah, we can do that. Is that what we're gonna do?
yeah, you want to record it, do we need to record it? Are you
Well, the
recording?
recorder's still on.
Okay, well, we want to go back into,
I'll make a motion to go back into work session.
okay, I second that, and that'd be you and I and Pat, and for the purpose of viewing nuisance places. Okay. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, aye. All opposed, nay, okay. And we will adjourn after we complete that tour, okay?
Who's driving?
I can drive. You got a kind of a list, or we're just gonna look on?
I just,
Okay.
I'll show you.
All right.